Welcome to MMO Grinder Sidequest, where I take a look at early open or closed betas, subscription trials, and simpler titles, giving you a quick first impression. Today I'll be looking at Master X Master, a MOBA-inspired game with a heavy cast of characters and PvP focus, brought to us by NCSoft, makers of Lineage 1 and 2, Blade&Soul, and publisher of Guild Wars 2 and WildStar. Why all that info? There's a reason. Master X Master is currently running alpha tests, so many to any gameplay or features I discuss are subject to complete retooling at any time. The game looks well for what it is, crisp and colorful with clearly recognizable characters and simple but well-made environments. From the basic industrial look of the battle arena, the very Dota-esque imagery of the Titan Ruins traditional MOBA-style map, to the various stages that you'll play PvE matches in, having some very interesting lighting effects sometimes, even used as mechanics. Although likely and hopefully due to alpha-level optimization, this game seems to have a hell of a time running sometimes, and it tends to become choppy even at the most random of instances. Hopefully the frame rate dips can be ironed out in a few more playtests. The game's soundtrack is eclectic. For some interesting reasons, it features sci-fi themes, everyone's favorite mockable genre dubstep, some hard rock, a jazzy tune for the main theme, and plenty of interesting, and less interesting, choices based around the game's many characters. Since this game is a MOBA, it does far more with the classic cast of characters formula, allowing a few modes of play beyond the common PvP arena, such as a fairly large set of PvE missions with bosses and enemies. In fact, it works a lot like the original version of Dead Island Epidemic, before that whole thing happened. Two PvP modes available in this alpha test include a small standard team deathmatch arena, as well as a more MOBA traditional Towers and Core mode with Titan Ruins. That tends to basically force every special map objective from Heroes of the Storm into one map. It's kind of a mess. The mode doesn't seem to come up too often, since people just don't want to seem to queue for it. Speaking of Heroes of the Storm, you could almost consider Master X Master as some form of NCSoft Heroes of the Storm. Not that that would be entirely accurate, as the game features plenty of original characters not to steal, and its own central plot and storyline. But you might notice Ritlock from Guild Wars 2, Death Knight from Lineage, Chromede from Ion, Mondo Zax from WildStar, and both Poharan and Jinsoyan from Blade&Soul. The game doesn't make the focus about these characters, but their inclusion still comes across very much like an inter-company celebration. The game controls a bit like Dead Island Epidemic as well, allowing you to move freely with WASD, aim with the mouse, and hotkey for your specific skills. One major change is allowing you to choose two characters when you enter any match, allowing you to swap between them with a spin of the mouse wheel, and keeping you in the match just a bit longer if you end up in a bad situation. If either character is defeated though, it will count as a death and force you to respawn. Despite the rather robust PvE option, as well as your standard AI bots to fight in arena mode, you might find the other players troubling. Match behavior is usually quiet, but the lobby is a special kind of special, made all the more worse by the inclusion of the jukebox. In theory, it's a neat feature, like most trouble-causing issues, in which you can choose from a list of songs to play to the entire lobby at once for a token that you purchase in the cash shop. Since the alpha was giving away cash currency for free, some people bought up a ton of these tokens fairly quick. And if you've played during this alpha, you can probably already see where I'm going with this. You probably heard a very specific song, a peppy K-pop anthem called Harmony, which consists of the broken English lyrics, "You gotta upside down," repeated throughout the entire song, all 2+ minutes of it. Since songs are queued by players, I was under the original impression that the game was just drowning in otaku until I started to notice protests about it in the chat, which led to the song being played even more. It wasn't uncommon during peak hours to hear this song play several times in a row, and it drove some of Grindstone so insane that they either just turned off the music or just got sick of the game in general. It's a pity, but I see this as a first step to a very trollish community. People have advised NCSoft to place a cap on song requests or keep certain songs from playing on repeat, or just get rid of the jukebox altogether. As for now, it's just players battling it out with coins, as trolls will try to recreate a John Mulaney stand-up routine, and others will try to fill the request sheet with anything but that song. When real cash comes into play, we can see how this will continue, but I'm starting to think NCSoft did this on purpose. Purchasing new characters seems fair, as it's either cash-based, with some characters unable to be purchased unless certain conditions are met, or based upon earning a secondary currency and achievements. My one gripe with the system is that the game is pretty keen on the Korean grinder trope of having too many currencies, as while most games go with a cash currency and an earned currency, this game will use cash points, earned gold, earned character unlock points, and a few other random currencies that'll seem to pop up when you're planning on getting a new skin. Condensing this process would be nice, though it only seems to stick to the skins portion of the shop. Characters are usually a bit more straightforward. While it's nice to see another character game put some focus on PvE and story again, I feel a bit more content could serve this game well, as the PvP modes can feel interesting, but lacking, and Titan Ruins is in dire need of a rework. Character balance also just seems a bit all over the place at the moment. Since it's in an alpha state, though, we can only hope to see more tweaks come about before we see a public launch. This has been an MMO Grinder Sidequest, and it's time I logged out.